Welcome back. Is relief coming for home buyers? Morgan Stanley thinks so. They wrote in a note that we are, quote, poised for an improvement in affordability that we have only seen a handful of times over the past about 35 years. With that, Main Street Asset Management CIO Erin Gibbs joins me now on set. So, Erin, obviously Morgan Stanley is, I think bullish is too strong a word, but they think relief is coming for home buyers next year because prices will drop 3%. Don't get too excited.
Small, yes.
And housing starts, construction will increase 10%.
Right. And the main factor, which they repeated multiple times, is that they expect mortgage rates to come down. And that's really where the word affordability. So we're not talking so much that the price of your home will come, like the inherent price of the home, but really that you can afford a more expensive home because you're not going to be paying 8% mortgage.
I just don't buy it, regardless of what mortgage rates do, because previously owned home sales, this morning we got the latest data, a 13-year low. So if you were to sell every single home on the market and every single existing home, you would do so in 3.6 months. That's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, even before the pandemic, we knew that there was a housing shortage. I mean, this is something that's sort of been a decade in the making, and so we need those housing starts to help. And I think what Morgan Stanley is really saying that we've had essentially 9 months of lock-in, where essentially people can't afford to sell their home because they can't afford to take an 8% mortgage to buy a new home. And so we're just in this complete lock-in stagnation.
Yeah.
If people are finally willing to sell existing homes, which tend to be cheaper than new housing starts, then that could help alleviate, at least with the affordability, in that we could actually just see some movement. So it's not going to be a free-for-all. It's not that there's going to be just a flood of homes on the market, but at least it's just about anything could make it better than what it is right now. And that's what they're kind of getting at.
We've had a lot of different reads on the state and the health of the consumer on the show. Kevin Mann said, yep, nope, they're overextended. Phil Blancato says the consumer's doing fine. They'll keep spending. What does Erin Gibbs say?
I say that the consumer's doing fine. When we look at how the consumers have been spending, we've been proven many times, Wall Street analysts have been proven wrong, that the consumer is still willing to spend. The wage growth has been keeping up. And also because we aren't buying new homes as much, that leaves still a fair amount of cash on the table because
you're
not paying this huge mortgage.
You put off the dream completely,
right.
And
you're
then you
renting
tap
at a lower
into that
rate.
fund.
And so we see that within consumer stocks. And that's what I was talking about, is that in general, a lot of consumer cyclical stocks, their valuations, their prices are pushed so far down. But we have seen in quite a few companies that people are willing to spend, and they are willing to make a few of those purchases. And part of that is because you just don't have this huge mortgage looming because you're still waiting for it to become.
So do we have enough money left over to buy NVIDIA? Because in less than 2 hours, NVIDIA will report. But this report card could set the tone for the entire market.
It is, because NVIDIA is basically the best of breed, to take a dog show quote. But they really are the leader when it comes to AI. They are one of the most profitable, one of the highest quality, most consistent. And so we know that if things go well for them, that's generally a good thing for the rest of the industry. If things are going poorly for them, that means it's really bad for the other companies that don't have as strong balance sheets.
So they're like more than a bellwether is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Would you buy them on any dip?
Absolutely. I think right now NVIDIA, it's trading at about 32 times forward earnings, which for an AI company is actually relatively cheap on the type of scales of valuations that we see within that industry. Yeah. And again, they are very consistent, very good at beating estimates. And so we're definitely going to be listening to every word they say, and if they give us any guidance farther ahead.
500 now. The stock has tripled this year and then some. 3 analysts say they're worth more than $1,000.
Yeah, 32 times forward, they're making enough money to be worth that.
Erin Gibbs, thank you. Good to see you. Coming up, the White House banned TikTok on government.